Yeah.
Okay, guys, I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. If we have everybody in the room, if I could get your attention for a little bit. Thank you so much to everyone for being here. My name is Vierelina Fernandez. I'm a postdoctoral scholar in the Center for Latin American Studies here at Rutgers University, and I will be your moderator for today. Okay, I am gonna have to read from this laptop because I was not able to print this prior, but so before we begin our panel today, I'd just like to take a few minutes to introduce and bring some visibility to the organization that made today's event possible, the Kurdish Studies Graduate Student Association, or KSGSA. That's a bit of a mouthful, but I'd like to thank our organization's president, Masoon Oti, for his leadership and effort in the creation of this new Graduate Students Association. None of this would be possible without the tremendous energy that you invest into each and every one of our events, so thank you. Likewise to every single one of our KSGSA members. Thank you for always showing up, for your support, and for likewise investing so much of yourselves into our activities. So thank you for being here. I did want to say a few words about KGSA and the many events that we have because it is a new organization, right? I was supposed to pull up the PowerPoint, the website, but we had some technical difficulties. So the KSGSA is dedicated to advancing Kurdish studies through scholarship, dialogue, and community engagement. Its mission is to create an interdisciplinary space for the study of Kurdish history, politics, culture, language, and society, while also fostering connections between students, faculty, and the broader public. So we've had people ask questions about, well, I'm not a part of Rutgers, can I still be part of the KGSA? Yeah, everybody's welcome and invited to our events. So encourage anybody Kurdish, not Kurdish, right, to partake in these conversations and in our community, because we're always grateful and happy to have you. We believe that KSGSA plays an important role in supporting critical conversations that might otherwise remain marginal within Middle East studies, as we know, particularly those centered on statelessness, colonial legacies, minority politics, and transnational forms of resistance and belonging, which we are going to talk about today. Over the past year, we have been actively organizing academic panels, lectures, workshops like today's event, and bringing together scholars from a variety of fields, so history, political science, anthropology, international relations, sociology. I wanted to showcase some of the events that we've had over the past year or so, but we did Navroz celebrations, we did a Kurdish picnic. What else did we do?
Panel on Kurdish women.
We did a panel on Kurdish women, which I was a speaker at. So a lot of fantastic events, and there are more to come. Looking ahead, KSGSA plans to continue expanding its programming, including future panels, lectures, cultural events, and public-facing initiatives that connect scholarship to ongoing political and social debates, as well as activism. So I encourage everyone here to visit the KSGSA website, which, you know, is on the Rutgers website, and which Avian has been fantastic at maintaining. So thank you for that. And also to follow us on social media on Instagram, which I am the content creator for. I'm very proud of it. So follow us on Instagram or follow the website. And you can find ways to get involved on either of those two. So whether you're interested in Kurdish studies broadly or questions of democratization, decolonization, minority politics, non-state political movements, right? This is a wonderful intellectual community to just be a part of. Show the website, pause briefly. That's not gonna happen, but be sure to check that out. Okay, so just on behalf of the Kurdish Studies Graduate Student Association, I also want to thank the co-sponsors of the event, so the Center for Middle East Studies here at Rutgers University and the Kurdish American Solidarity Association, KSAA, KASA, CASA, right, in Spanish. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us for today's panel, Decolonizing the Middle East, Kurdish Experiences. We're very grateful to see both in-person as well as virtual participants, so everybody in our virtual Zoom community, feel free to put questions into the chat. We will be monitoring it, and yeah, we're happy and excited to have you. So thank you for being here as well. Just a few words about our topic today. The phrase decolonizing the Middle East has become increasingly present in academic and political discourse, yet it remains deeply contested both analytically and politically. Too often, decolonization is reduced to metaphor or narrowly framed through state-centric lenses that obscure the lived experiences of stateless peoples, minoritized communities, and those political struggles that do not map neatly onto existing national borders, which I think we're going to hear a lot about today. The Kurdish experience forces us to confront these limitations, analytical limitations, directly. So across Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran, Kurdish communities have been subjected to colonial and quasi-colonial forms of governance through forced assimilation, denial of political recognition, extractive development, population transfers, repeated cycles of militarized repression. I could go on and on and on about all these different things. At the same time, Kurdish political movements have generated some of the most innovative, controversial experiments in governance, pluralism, and resistance in the contemporary Middle East. So this panel invites us to think seriously about what decolonization might mean beyond sovereignty alone, to consider questions of autonomy, federalism, gender, democracy, and the production of political knowledge in and of itself. Okay, so engaging the Kurdish experience will force us to ask difficult questions such as who gets to define political legitimacy, what forms of governance are dismissed as unrealistic or dangerous, and by whom, and how do global power structures like colonial legacies, Cold War alignments, and contemporary geopolitics shape the futures that are considered possible. All this leads me now to the fantastic guest speakers that we've invited here. Thank you so much for being with us. First, I'd like to present Professor Brendan O'Leary. He is the chair of the Political Science Department at the University of Pennsylvania. He is also a leading scholar of nationalism, federalism, power sharing, and constitutional design in deeply divided societies. His work focuses on territorial restructuring, secessions, partitions, unifications, and annexations, as well as empirical conflict research, which I'm thrilled to hear about because I also focus that in my own work, including the Irish peace process, national reunifications, Kurdish politics in Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and Iran, Iraq's federalization, and the breakup of Sudan. He is the author, co-author, and co-editor of 30 books and collections, which is immensely impressive. The author or co-author of hundreds of articles or chapters in peer-reviewed journals, university presses, encyclopedia articles, and other forms of publication, including op-eds. His 3-volume study, The Treaties on Northern Ireland, was published by Oxford University Press in 2020 and received the James S. Donnelly Senior Best Book Prize in History and the Social Sciences of the American Conference on Irish Studies. And prior to coming to the University of Pennsylvania, he was a faculty member at LSE at the London School of Economics for 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, right? So that's incredibly impressive. Dr. O'Leary was recently also at the Middle East Peace and Security Forum in Dahuk, Southern Kurdistan, where General Mazlim Abdi also attended. Joining him is Professor Ozlem Goner from the Department of Sociology and Anthropology at the College of Staten Island, CUNY. Professor Goner's work brings an essential ethnographic and feminist perspective to Kurdish studies, examining memory, violence, gender displacement, and everyday forms of political life. Her research challenges top-down narratives of conflict and instead centers lived experience, particularly through the ways that Kurdish women and marginalized communities navigate and reshape structures of power, repression, and resistance. She has written academic and popular journal articles on themes of state violence, intersectional feminist movements, anti-colonial self-determination, and internationalist solidarity. Her research and teaching also aims to bridge academic and activist fields, which is fantastic and something that I'm also very interested in. And she's a steering committee member of the Emergency Committee for Rojava, a member of the Global Prison Abolitionist Collective, and an organizer of the Kurdish Gender Studies Network. She is the author of the 2017 book, Turkish National Identity and Its Outsiders, Memories of State Violence in Dersim. And some of her recent articles include A Collective Memory and Production, Gender Politics in 1938 in Turkey, which we were talking about right prior to the panel, and published in the Journal of Dialectical Anthropology, and Transformation of the Alevi Collective Identity in the Journal of Cultural Dynamics. Okay, so thank you for being here. Just really quickly in terms of format, each one of our speakers has about 25-ish minutes, right, for your presentations, and then we will open the floor up for a Q&A for the audience. So we're hoping that it'll be about 30 minutes of Q&A, very engaged Q&A from our audience members. So I think that's everything I had to say. So without further ado, I welcome Professor Brendan Leary to the forum. Thank you so much.